Welcome to the Gym and Tonic Podcast. I'm your host, Shanaye from SK Bodyworks. This is a podcast where I share valuable education, insight, and strategies around all things health, fitness, nutrition, weight loss, and mindset, mixed in with some laughs, a whole lot of balance, and a few ums along the way. If you're ready to make your weight loss and fitness goals a reality, you've come to the right place, because through these episodes, I'm going to help you live a healthy but balanced life, lose the weight, and become the best version of you possible. Let's go, girlfriend. Welcome back to the Gym and Tonic Podcast. I am so excited for today's episode because I have a very special guest joining us today. And this special guest is someone who has had a huge impact on my life in many ways possible, and more than you could probably imagine humanly possible. And that beautiful guest is Michelle Dyball, or as I like to call her, Shell for short. Michelle's from 1,000 Paths and Harmonize the Breath. So welcome to the Gym and Tonic Podcast, Michelle.
Thank you for having me, Shanaye.
My pleasure. We've been talking about this for a little while now, but we've made it happen. We've got there. So first off, can you tell, I guess, the listeners sort of what you do? I know that you've had 20 plus, however, a long time, experience in, I guess, the healing space, like holistic health therapies, with, I guess, a bunch of different modalities. But can you, I guess, expand on your expertise and, I guess, so the listeners can get some insight into sort of the work that you do?
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks for asking. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
My journey in holistic health has been a deeply personal one, as much as it's been professional. With over 20 years of experience in this field, I've had not only helped others to heal, but have also walked my own path in healing and self-discovery. Like many people, I've experienced inner child wounds and moments of pain and uncertainty.
Yeah.
Stemming from my own upbringing and life's challenges. These experiences have shaped me, and for a long time left me feeling stuck, disconnected, and searching for something deeper.
Outside of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a lifelong journey of healing, one that still is unfolding for me today.
Yeah.
I've come to realise that we're not here to be perfect.
Yeah, it's never
not here to have all the answers.
Yeah.
And just embrace the challenges and turn them into opportunities for, self-empowerment.
Yeah, I love that.
Rather than self-destruction.
Yes, that's a good way. Self-empowerment versus self-destruction.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's like a little bit off topic, but something that's been a word that's been really prominent for me lately is like duality. And it's like embracing the duality of life. And it's like, fear can coexist with courage, and like self-destruction can, coexist with, what was the word you used then?
Self-destruction.
And what was the other word?
Self-empowerment.
Self-empowerment. It's like, both ends of the scales can coexist with one another, but it's like finding enjoyment and love and joy and all those, positive emotions along the way as well.
And the other thing with that is that looking at the shadow side and the light.
Yes,
you can have an experience that looks quite dark and heavy, but there's always that light. And then when you choose the light and go, if I didn't have that experience, I wouldn't have been able to turn it around and actually look at the light in that.
Yeah.
Or the victim into the beingness.
Yeah, exactly.
Two can be very...
Yeah. Coincides together, because it's
correct.
Like, and like even just looking back, like I'm sure probably you could relate to this on your journey, and probably everyone listening could as well, but it's like, in a challenging experience that we've experienced, like something that we've gone through, it's like really helped us shape into the person that we are today. And it's like, if that didn't happen, who would we be? And it's we go, like, the biggest breakdowns lead to our biggest breakthroughs, I believe.
Yeah. And if you didn't have all those experiences, then you wouldn't be, the woman or the man that you are today. So we can 100%. Go back and look back on our past and think, I've taken so much time and woe is me. I wish I had have done this sooner. I wish I had done that sooner. But everything is in its time, isn't it? Yeah. Because even if you say I could have done that then, would you have actually even been
in the
the
position.
person that you are now and the opportunities that will be brought to you now.
Yeah, 100%. And divine timing. It's
Yeah.
like when everything presents to you in the perfect right timing when it's supposed to, I truly believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So today's episode, we are going to chat about Michelle and I guess her story of sort of what led her to where she is today. We're going to talk about breath work and I guess what it is and the profound, I guess, benefits from this practice. And I guess how it's also like my experience with breath work and how it's, I guess, truly helped me transform my life. Like it's been life-changing. And we'll also just see, I guess, where the conversation takes us.
Yeah, beautiful.
And even for anyone that's maybe new here or listening that hasn't maybe listened to the podcast before, obviously we're going to be really talking about Michelle today and her journey. And I guess not diving too much into my journey, but we will be speaking about, I guess, breath work and my experience working with Michelle as well. But if you're wanting to know more about my journey, I'm pretty sure it's episode 1. I speak about my story and sort of what led me to where I am today. And I guess for those that don't know, I am a qualified fitness, nutrition, and weight loss coach. I've been in the space for, what is it, this year? Actually, it just clicked to me. We're in a 9-year this year, and I've been in the space for April will be 9 years. So it was just a realization I had just then. But I'm also currently doing my life coaching diploma to become a life and mindset coach, which I'm so excited for. But that's just briefly about me. So let's talk about you, Michelle. And actually something that we've known each other for, not quite a year now. It's probably been 8 months, I think, since I first ever came to see you.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about, I guess, that experience a little bit later in the episode today. But I actually don't know a lot about your story. So tell us a little bit, I guess, firstly about you and I guess the work that you do with your clients and with your community.
Yeah, beautiful. So I've been
Sorry,
a therapist for...
my coaster fell off my water bottle.
I want listeners to know that healing is not just about fixing yourself. It's about remembering who you are beneath the layers of conditioning, pain, and self-doubt. It's about being kind to yourself and navigating your journey. It's about learning from the experiences to become stronger and more self-aware and aligned. So I started my work around about 23 years ago.
Wow.
Now, I had a shop in Richmond at the time. I was going through a relationship breakdown, breakthrough, whatever you would like to call it. I have had a really big journey of self-discovery. My journey from anything from, my childhood wounds, through sexual abuse, my sexuality, my inability to be able to read and write that well, always feeling like I'm living on the outside of circles, finding it really hard to fit in with people, always feeling like I was dumb, not good enough, always in the D's and E's of, school. I'm a visual learner. I am a person, I'm very intuitive.
Yes,
the system wasn't for me.
Yeah, and for a lot of people, I do believe.
Yeah, so with all of that came with all of its wounds and all of its dysfunctions. One big thing that I remember quite vividly is that when I was growing up and even into adulthood, Shanaye, is that I always believed in other people before I believed in me. So I grew up feeling like I was never good enough, or I had a lack of self-worth. Depressed, anxious, become drug-induced for years. It was really dysfunctional. I fell off a cliff and broke my legs and ended up in a wheelchair.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I ended up having to pick myself up, move away for a year, clean myself up on my own, and really get back to the core of who I was. Now, I always believed in other people because I intuitively felt growing up I could see through people's stuff. No, that's not true. No, that's not right. You're not right. you don't see things, Michelle. You can't see that aura around that tree. You can't see this.
Yeah.
To the point where the people that I looked up to, or the people that were there to protect me, actually, including teachers, including family members, taught me not to believe in myself. So then therefore I was taught to believe in you before I believed in me.
Yeah.
Hence here comes depression.
Yeah.
Here comes taking pills for depression.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't living in my own alignment.
Yeah. Wow.
So I was like, who am I? I cannot believe, or could not tell you enough now, that I will believe in myself before I believe in you.
Yeah. I love that switch. And obviously it's taken, healing is a non-linear journey, but
100%.
like of how far you've come from like all of that, like to, like you said, move away for a year and work on yourself for a year and find yourself. And it's like the strength and courage that it takes to be able to do that yourself, because it's like the reality is, no one's going to come save us. We have to be willing to, meet ourselves beneath all the layers, like you say, peel back the layers of yourself, and, find our true authentic self. And it definitely sounds like that journey of self-discovery and, like along the way, finding yourself and learning to believe in yourself before anyone else around you is, led you into the amazing healer that you are today and helping so many others do that on their journey.
And I think the reason why I do inner child, which is my predominant space of expertise, I would say, is that, even when us as mothers, or, your mother or your dad, or, teachers, and you ask them a question, did you do this? No, I didn't do it. Or, you ask your parent to say, can I do this? Or is this true? Or can I see you're crying, Mum? No, I'm not crying.
Yeah, suppress.
Okay, but I can see you're crying. So, intuitively as a child, we know that. This is just like one little layer.
Yeah.
Then you've just allowed me to doubt myself.
Yeah.
Can you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
That in one little thing, we're not in alignment just from that.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, sweetheart, yes, Mummy is feeling sad today.
Yeah.
We don't have to go into the story.
Yeah. But
it's such a simple thing to say. You're already just giving me a spark of, I'm not right. What I'm seeing is not correct.
Yeah.
Imagine everything else that you do in your day-to-day.
And you don't trust yourself.
And you don't trust yourself. And now that's just one layer of one thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like all of the other, like as a child, like that's when we're in our, I guess, imprinting period, which is what I've just recently learned in my life coaching. But it's like, ages 0 to 7 where we take on our beliefs. Like that's where our whole beliefs are formed. And as little as like a child being in a primary school class, and it's like they raise their hand to say something, and the teacher answers them, points them out, and they say what they have to say, and then the whole class laughs at them, or someone says something, and it's like that then teaches them that I can't speak my truth, I can't speak up, and then they learn to, as a protection mechanism, learn to protect themselves, and they don't do that anymore. And it's like then how that carries out in the rest of their lives.
And you think about that, and that's, again, the reason why I do what I do, is to be able to point out whereabouts are your patterns, behaviours and restrictions, and how are you holding that in your energy field. And if you're in a dysfunction now and not quite sure why, what are you mirroring out to the world for you to become stuck where you're at, to be able to find the key or find the root cause, to be able to change that and then go from there.
Yeah. 100%. And I did your inner child healing workshop in November last year.
Yeah.
And I actually had a huge realization in that workshop. And
what was that for you?
Because we're going through I can't remember the name of it, but the different names that you had for the wounded child, the
abandoned child, the sexually abused child.
Yeah, all of those different ones. And I had a realization that, like, growing up, my parents weren't very emotional people. They weren't, expressive of their emotions, suppressed, I've never been told in my life that, like, by my parents, I love you. And, like, that's just how they were brought up. And they did the best that they could with the resources they have. And I've learned to, I guess, really accept that. But a huge realization that I had was, even when Jake and I got together, which was... this year will be 10 years ago, he thought that I didn't love him. And because I didn't know how to show it, because I didn't know how to love someone, because I didn't know what it was to be like to be loved. And I had that realization in that inner child workshop.
And that was one of the reasons why you first started coming to me. You came to me for breath work, for a one-on-one. But as we started peeling back those layers, I remember distinctively these are the things that came up for you when we started to peel back those layers.
Yeah.
Once you come in for the breath work, and then you came in for a one-on-one healing for the inner child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I distinctively remember that coming up as well. And there was something else I was going to say off the back of that. And even like my burnout that I experienced at the end of 2023, like, you know, that was a result of, you know, I guess, you know, growing up being conditioned of, like, I used to play soccer, like growing up, it was like my whole life until I had to retire because of my knees. But it was like, you know, my dad was always like, would come and watch me play games and whatever. And it would always be like, you know, never point out the things that I was doing and the things that I was doing right. It would always be like, you know, you didn't make this pass or you missed that goal or whatever it might be. And he was saying that out of love. And obviously, you know, his dad, like my grandpa, was also like that to dad. So it's like, I totally see the picture of where he's got it from. And it was totally out of love. But it was like, as a child, you don't realize that. And it's like, you learn to, you know, you condition like that. And then that becomes your reality of like, you're always, I guess, like
doing something wrong.
Yeah, and trying to do more to be more. But it's like, you never needed to do more to be more. You were always worthy exactly as you are. But it's like chasing that external validation or the external things, when really it's like true happiness is inside of ourselves. And we truly believe our own worth. It's like, that's when the external mirrors our internal worth.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like the profound impact that inner child healing has on anyone's life.
Most definitely. And you look at how far you've come along now in the last 8 months, just by working on yourself, your patterns, your behaviours, and how much your breath work as well, along with the work that you do with your personal training and exercise. I mean, your holistic health. Yeah. All ties hand in hand, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And I guess even like talking about, I guess, breath work, and I guess we'll get into a little bit later sort of my journey working with you, and I guess how that's truly, you know, in breath work and how it's truly transformed my life. But
one big thing that I would sort of like to add in on that is that within any of the workshops that I do, peeling back the layers, I've got 3 course modules. One is the foundation work. Which is to be able to look at, and this is one beautiful thing that, you know, bring to the community, where we work on the energetics. What is the foundation of the energetics, the patterns, the behaviours? The second part of the module or the workbook is the inner child work, which is when you can really see what patterns you are, what has been brought to you. And a really big distinct is that we need to understand that, yes, the parents did the best that they can do. Yeah. The generations before did the best that they can do. So it's our responsibility for now to be able to heal our generation. Yeah. So we can teach our children and the children's children more. And then the third part of the module or the workbook is the shadow work and the forgiveness. Yeah. Because all hand in hand ties by letting go of all that baggage, because the more that we can forgive, the more we let go, the more that we can be in that present. Yeah,
100%. And at the end of today's episode as well, we'll talk a little bit around sort of what's coming up for you and what you offer, and sort of the work that you do. But you're going to say something there.
Yeah, remembering it's the rippling effect. Because if you heal yourself, then you're also healing your family, your friends, and then it becomes a collective. Yeah. We all rise. Yeah. Because if you're changing energetically and your energy field is not low or still holding those trauma patternings or those lower vibrations, restriction, disconnection, and you're now aligned and connected, guess what's going to happen? People are going to rise with you.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like your energy is everything, right?
Correct.
There's something else I was going to add to that, but it completely just went out of my mind. I can't remember what it was. It was something about, I do that all the time on the podcast. Yeah. Before we come on, and it was like, we're talking about it. I'm like, I swear on this podcast, like, don't worry if you forget your words.
Much of my life, I just didn't trust myself. Sought validation outside myself. So, it goes in so many different layers. We can
Yeah.
peel back this layer and then find something else and find something
Yeah.
else. And that's the beauty of our lives, isn't it?
Yeah. And it all
It's coming back home
to ourselves.
to self.
Yeah. 100%. And I love the analogy of, like you say, peeling back those layers, because it's like our true authentic self lies beneath all those layers, and that's who we really are beyond the conditioning and what we've been taught, and who we are as a soul, a person, a human, whatever we want to call it. And yeah, I love that analogy. Is there anything else that you wanted to add to sort of your journey before we talk a little bit about, I guess, breath work?
Yeah, well, this understanding inspires, the work that I do today. Whether it's through breath work, trauma release, guiding people to connect to their inner child, my mission is to help reclaim their power, release what no longer serves them, and live in alignment with their truth. I know that what it feels like to be lost, to feel powerless, and to doubt your worth. But I also know what it feels like to rise, to heal, and step into your life, authentically.
I love that.
Power of freedom.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like
And know your
freedom is a
worth.
big word.
Sometimes we get so stuck in our own trauma patternings that that's safe.
Yeah.
Even though we know
Consciously we know
that it's not right.
Yeah.
Because we're afraid of being happy. We're afraid of being in our empowerment.
Yeah.
But that just lies on that other side of letting go of what you know to what you don't know.
Yeah. And trusting yourself to go there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
And we're here to become lighter beings.
High vibrational.
Yeah. Not to collect stuff, not to stay stuck. But to really
rise and step into the best version of ourselves possible.
Yeah. And don't be afraid of self.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say before. I remember now. I can't remember what you were talking about at the time, but it was like, when you heal yourself, you heal the world. You heal everyone else around you. And it's like the analogy of like, you can't pour from an empty cup. It's like if your cup is empty, and I learned this through my burnout experience when I hit extreme burnout. If your cup's empty and you're not giving to you, you're not prioritizing you, and suppressing emotion and all those sorts of things, you physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever, cannot pour into someone else's cup. It's like pouring into, like when you're not looking after yourself and not prioritizing you and whatever that might look like. It's like almost like you're trying to pour into a cup that's got a million holes in it. It's like it's never going to be full, and you can obviously never then pour into anyone else's cup around you as well. That's what I was going to say. I just remembered it.
Yeah, beautiful.
But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about, I guess, breath work. And I feel like even for me, before I started doing breath work, obviously with yourself, I felt a really strong pull to breath work. And like later I'll talk into a little bit about how sort of that journey started. But I've had so many people ask me, like, what is breath work? And it's like, do you just breathe? Or like, it's so much more than that. But I guess for, particularly the listeners that are listening that maybe don't have experience with breath work, maybe they've never done it before, or maybe, they sort of don't really understand what it actually is. Can you, I guess, expand on this?
Beautiful. All right. So let's just take a breath.
Yeah, I love that.
All right. So let's start with a guided journey first.
Yeah.
So then we can feel what it feels like. So if you're in a safe place, let's take a pause together. This is a simple breathwork technique called the 4-4-6-2. It's designed to help you feel calm, centered, and grounded. If you're in a safe place, close your eyes or soften your gaze. Sit comfortably. Put your feet on the floor. Or if you're standing, feel the ground beneath you. Let your shoulders just relax. Now take a deep breath in through the nose for the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath for the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Let go throughout the mouth for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. 2, 1. In through the nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause for 2. Breathe in through the nose, expand the belly for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out through the mouth for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold and pause. Breath in, expand the belly. 2, 3, 4. And hold. 2, 3, 4. Out through the mouth for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And pause. Now just return to the natural breath. Take a moment to see how you feel. Maybe your body feels lighter.
Yeah.
Lighter in the mind, feels a bit quieter. The power of the breath, it's always there for you, wherever you need to reset and recharge. How did that make you feel, Shanaye?
Definitely a lot calmer. Hope my breathing in the microphone wasn't too loud. But it's like crazy what just literally a minute, 2 minutes maximum. I don't know how long
you can
it
do
was,
this anyway.
but literally it's like something that's free that we all have, and knowing how to use our breath properly and how that can help us feel calmer, reduce stress, I guess anxiety, and just come back to ourselves and back into our, rest and digest parasympathetic nervous system. And yeah, like it's insane the shift that it has in your state and your energy.
That's right. So breath work is such an integral part of the work that I do, because the breath is life.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first thing we do when we enter this world, and the last thing we do when we leave. Everything in between carries by the breath. Yet in today's fast-paced society, so many of us breathe shallow, in a state of fight and flight, constantly rushing from one thing to the next, ever truly connecting to the power of our breath. This disconnects the impacts on us on every level, physically, emotionally, and mentally.
Yeah, and actually, before I first came to see you, I knew that I had like dysfunctional breathing, and that was, so I came to see you in, I think it was like April, May of last year, so 2024, and at the end of 2023 is when I hit my sort of extreme workout, extreme burnout, which was a long time coming, and I just completely lost my train of thought there. The dysfunctional breathing patterns. And I remember distinctively before I came to see you, like I knew, like I said, I had dysfunctional breathing. Yeah. But I remember at the end of the day, I would, finish work, whatever, have a shower, and I physically could not breathe from my stomach. Yeah. I was such a shallow breather. I would breathe from my chest. And because I was so disconnected from self, I was not present. Was just totally disconnected from myself. I didn't even realize that I was doing that at the time.
And that's one thing that we should ask our listeners. How do you breathe? When you take your breath, are you breathing through your mouth? Are you breathing through your nose? Are you breathing through the chest? Or are you breathing through your base? Like, how do you train? Even when we bring it back to exercise, when we breathe in, even when we're going to do, say, a squat or something like that, breathing in, expanding the belly first, holding, doing the squat, breathing out when you're coming back up. Really correct breathing gets more out of your workouts than if you're just doing it unconsciously.
Yeah, 1000%.
More conscious breathing is going to get you more oxygen within your body. Yeah.
To then send your working muscles and a better lift. It's going to help you execute the exercise. And
correct.
On that note as well, I remember distinctively after I had done a few breathwork sessions and I had gone back to exercise because I had just over 6 months off exercise from burnout, and I did my first yoga session back after having time off, and I remember walking out of the yoga studio and I was like, oh my God, I'm actually breathing, and I was present in my body, I was present with my breath, and like the difference of how that movement felt as opposed to like when I'd previously done yoga, because obviously, yoga is really about breath and movement, like one breath, one movement. Like the profound difference of actually breathing properly that made in my yoga practice was insane. And even for, I guess, like clients, it's like when clients first come to see me, like in the gym, for sessions, exercise, whatever, breathing is always something that a lot of clients struggle with, and it just takes, I guess, a lot of cueing and, you know, repetition to get them to sort of get in the right breathing patterns, and, you know, breathing out on the concentric phase of a movement, which is generally the harder phase of a movement. So your example, like a squat, that would be when you're coming up, breathing out. But like you said, if you're not breathing properly, it's not going to help you execute that exercise.
And you're not going to get heavier in your lifts.
Exactly. Yeah. So
that's one big thing. The more that you have your correct breathing, the more you're going to be able to get out of your workouts.
100%.
You know, I've been a therapist for many years, and when I started incorporating breath work into my energy work, it transformed not only my clients, but also me. I've spent a lot of time researching and seeking out the right teacher, someone whose depth, values, and understanding resonated with me. That's when I found Breathless. I'm not quite sure if anyone know about Breathless.
Breathless Expeditions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Johannes.
I've had my eye, wow.
And he's an incredible teacher, an incredible person. His approach to breathwork aligns so deeply with me and my morals and the way that I work. His teachings not only bring profound change to individuals, but are helping to shift the consciousness of the world. I knew that this was the right path for me. Yeah,
and when you know, you know.
That's right.
I guess it's listening to that gut feeling. But that's funny. I didn't actually know that you did your breath work through them, because
So I looked a lot. I looked around a lot before I actually resonated with the right one.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that is a little bit of a wound of mine is the cold. So I thought, right, your harness is down there. We're down there in the snowy mountains. You did your cold water therapy training down there. I'm
glad I can.
I remember I was petrified. Like, I was so scared. But you know what? He holds such a container that when you're down there in the river, you know, 2 minutes in that cold, snowy water. Oh, gosh. I can still feel the pins and needles now.
The numbness of your limbs.
But when you're there together in a unit, in a container, you know, you hold each other in a container. So the profound work and the depth of his research and all the work that you have to do before you get your certificate. So I did my certificate, and then, you know, sign me up for masters. Came down there a couple of months later and did the masters, and haven't looked back since.
Yeah, it's truly like a life change. Like I said, it's changed my life.
Life changing, and that's right. Yeah. And here we come with the ripple effect.
Yeah, 100%.
That if you empower yourself and invest in who you are, you invest in the world.
Yeah.
And if you ask, you know, you ask yourself, what can I do to change anything? The only thing that you're here to do is just change yourself. And that'll mirror out to the world.
Yeah, exactly right. Come back home to yourself. That's like when I think about my journey with breathwork, and it was actually a realization that I had in one of my breathwork sessions, that it was like, I'm home. Like, I'm come home, like it's allowed me to come back home to myself, because after burnout, like I was disconnected from myself for so long and just did not even realize it, because I was just go, you know, on to the next thing, doing this, doing that, but never actually stopped and paused to even, you know, for a moment reflect or, you know, check in with how I was feeling. So I love that. And I guess during like a breathwork session, what happens to our body? Like, I guess, what are the benefits of breathwork, and what happens to our body? Because I feel like there's a saying, I'm sure you've probably heard of it, but it's like neck up approach as opposed to neck down approach, where it's like, you know, talk therapy and, you know, counseling and all those modalities, like is that neck up approach, but it's like, you know, like that book, The Body Keeps the Score. It's like, you know, we hold emotions, suppressed emotions, trauma, all those things in our body. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, during breathwork sessions, profound shifts can happen within the body, the mind, the energy. Breathwork has the ability to take you beyond the surface, connecting to the deepest layers of yourself. Places where you can unconsciously store tension, emotions, or even trauma. It's in a safe place for the body to unwind, for the breath to, you know, freely move throughout the body. And remember, you're the one that's in control. If you're going to the facilitator, or you're listening it on YouTube, or whereabouts you are doing your own breath work, remember, you're the healer. You're the one that can take yourself to the depth of your own being.
Yeah.
So we can experience tingling-like sensations Emotions could be buried deep beneath the surface. You could shed a tear. Ways of release in letting go, like a fascia unwind.
Yeah.
So, when we hold fascia, we hold stored emotions within our fascia and our soft tissue. Body keeps score.
Yeah.
That brings in blockages and restrictions within the body.
Yeah.
Now, remember, we've got muscles, we've got energy systems, the chakras, we've got the nervous system.
Yeah.
The body is so intricate, down to even a thought pattern.
Yeah.
The neuron pathways.
Yeah.
Like, there is not just one thing. It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Hence why my life learning of I cannot get enough of learning about the human body.
Yeah.
Because it is you can never learn it in one whole lifetime.
Yeah. No.
The body goes into its own natural state. And remember, you're the one that's in control. There's different breathwork techniques. One to calm down.
Yeah.
And one to elevate or create that fire within the body, going into the sympathetic or the parasympathetic nervous system.
Yeah.
If someone is like, wanting to go a little bit deeper, then there's different breath work to go into that. And someone, if you just want to, do a gentle breath work just before you go to sleep, or if you're feeling a bit anxious, good for asthma, good for people that want to train faster. It's all in the breath.
Yeah. Yeah. And for someone that maybe is like new to breath work or has, never done breath work, like, why do you think, I guess, people should do or try breath work? Like, what would they get out of it? Like, I know you said, if you're feeling anxious or before bed to, help wind down and things like that. But why would you suggest for someone to do breath work?
Well, it's building the bridge between breath work, mind and spirit.
Yeah.
It's within us. In today's fast-paced society, most of us get stuck in the shallow upper chest breathing.
Yeah, like we were talking about before.
Yeah. Imagine how acidic our bodies become. We're not even using those lower lungs, getting back down here into the depth of, the diaphragmic breathing or into the basement. Why should breath work be
normalized? Why should you try it? Why should you do it?
Because it's our breath. It keeps us alive.
Yeah.
We've got to learn how to retrain our breath.
Yeah. And I love...
So it's for everybody to be able to get the most out of you.
Yeah. There's never been one person that I have spoken to after a breathwork session, like if they've done it for the first time or whatever, there's never been one person that I've spoken to that have not said that, like, wow, that was amazing.
That's
like,
right.
I loved that. Like, I truly believe as well that, like, it is for everyone. Like, whether you're, maybe not in a good place mentally, maybe you have health concerns, maybe you, wanting to release stored trauma from your body or emotion or
stress.
Burnout or, stress, survival, depression.
Flow, empowerment.
Yeah.
Consciously breathing, unlocking the body's innate power to heal and restore itself. Physical oxidates the body.
Yeah.
Which leads to nourishing the cells, the tissues, reduces inflammation, promotes overall, vitality, flexibility in the body.
Yeah.
Emotional releases.
Yeah.
Mental clarity. Energetic, alignment.
Yeah.
Spiritual connection.
Yeah.
Empowerment.
Sure.
You can use it for weight loss.
It's
endless.
Yeah. Regulating the nervous system, like the impact that then has on
weight loss as well. Your body.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, if you haven't done breath work before, you need to do it.
Gotta try it.
Absolutely. And we'll talk a little bit towards the end of today's episode as well. Michelle and I actually have a collaboration event coming up, which we're super excited for. But yeah, we'll talk more about that after. But if you've never tried breath work and you are wanting to give it a go, it'll be the perfect event for you to do exactly that in a, I guess, safe space to be held.
That's right. And breath work is really beautiful because it meets you where you're at. You don't need an expert or any prior experience.
Yeah.
Whether it's looking to relieve stress, heal old wounds, or simply just reconnect with yourself.
Yeah.
It just supports you where you're at.
Yeah. And I mean, with my journey with breathwork, like, it truly helped support my healing journey, like, tremendously. Which, we'll go into a bit more after. But I have another question for you.
Yeah.
And obviously we went through a little bit of a breathwork practice just before, and hopefully the audience joined in on that. And if you didn't, maybe you were walking, or maybe you were driving, you couldn't close your eyes, or maybe you were busy cleaning the house or whatever you were doing, and know that you can come back to that short breathwork practice that Michelle did to just realize the shift that it had on your energy and your state as well. So they've got a little bit of an idea of, I guess, what a breathwork session could look like. Obviously, that's, 1 minute, 2 minutes. It's not sort of, 40 minutes, 45 minutes of breathwork. But can you talk us through, I guess, what a breathwork session would actually look like? So people that haven't done it before could know sort of a little bit, have a bit of an insight into, what they could expect, I guess.
Yeah. When it comes to what people would expect in a breathwork session, you can either do it for a short period of time, or you can take yourself to a longer journey. Now, you can move into a truly impactful journey where you're moving into a deep state.
Yeah.
Into the unconscious, where you lock, where you move from the conscious to the unconscious.
Yeah.
You can really take yourself on a journey through that, and that experience could be anything from letting go of anger, letting go of, emotions, to anything that is quite soft and peaceful, where you're just opening up your heart space.
I feel like no one session is really the same as well. Like, and I'm even remembering our first ever one-on-one session that we had, and I sort of went into it like very open-minded, sort of like I knew, sort of had an idea of what to expect, but didn't sort of, have any expectations as such. But I remember towards the end of, and it was actually one of the questions that one of the listeners have asked us, which we'll go into at the end. Yeah. But sort of covering it now. But remember I had like cried throughout the end of our breathwork session, and I guess an emotional release, and like
because you're moving into that fight and flight.
Yeah. And how I had...
And you look at the organs, you look at the system, you look at the nerves, look at everything that, we store, we bind within the nerve itself.
Yeah.
And that's hence comes the restriction, hence comes out to the organs that are associated with that. You look at the energy system in that. Again, when people talk about breath work or you talk about healing, it's so phenomenal that sometimes you actually just can't put words to it.
Yeah, 100%.
Because we come down to the energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where it's all at.
Yeah.
Then you talked about the above, and then you talk below.
Yeah.
We can go to counsellors, we can talk about, things to the cows come home.
Yeah.
But what we need to do is move into the energy or into the emotion. That's where the power is.
Yeah.
And you can't actually articulate until you've experienced yourself and can understand what that means.
You put that into perfect sentence, like a perfect
sentence. Does that make
sentence.
sense?
God, yeah.
It's powerful.
Like I was saying before, people that have like asked me, what is breathwork? And I'm like, I can't quite put it into words. Like you need to try it. And, I truly believe, like you said before, meeting yourself where you're at. It's like everyone will have a completely different experience with it. And, my first experience, like I said, when I, had cried, like a lot of emotion had come up.
And you don't even know you're going to do it.
Exactly right. I did not expect that.
I can just let go and move out of fight and flight.
Yeah.
And move into rest and digest. And that's what the experience is about.
Yeah.
Is being able to finally let go and come home.
Yeah.
Come into that parasympathetic nervous system.
Yeah.
And rest and digest.
And I remember walking out of that session so much lighter.
And when you were in your burnout, you've spent so much time in that upper chest breathing.
Oh, yeah.
Or in the stresses from as soon as you wake up in the morning to as soon as you go home, and that doesn't mean the doingness. That can be the overthinking.
Yes, exactly.
That can be always in your head, the worry, the anxiety, the fear of, holding on to everybody else's baggage.
Yeah.
Old past stuff. Hence why it's beautiful to be able to incorporate the inner child and the breath. To be able to come home and mix it in all together. Yeah. And come out.
Yeah. 100%. And I truly feel that there's, not one modality by itself is, I guess right as such. I feel that holistic approach is so empowering to be able to, again, meet yourself where you're at. And, you know, there's so, like, I just feel like there's so much to get out of it. And
that's right.
Yeah.
It comes down to the food, the nutrition, the energy you eat, the food you eat.
Yeah.
Is it being charged from the sun, the earth, or is it processed? Is that going to keep you stuck?
Yeah.
And again, we're imprinting the same patterns again, just in a different way.
Exactly right.
You know what I mean? Like it's powerful because it's down to the food that you eat. And if that's you know, how were you taught to eat as a child?
Exactly right.
Or is that I still want to be held and I still want to be lower in vibration? I'm going to eat that dense food to keep myself, again, just in a different way. We're holding ourselves down.
Yeah, 1000%. And I've worked with clients with like stress and emotional eating and binge eating, and it's like the patterns of what they've picked up, for example, from their mum, and how they've created that relationship of food, of how they've seen their mother react or, you know, see food and have that relationship. Correct. And they've picked that up along their way, and, you know, stress and emotional eating. And it's like, yeah, it all comes back and ties back to
movement.
Yeah, it all.
Exercise, walk, whatever it is.
Yeah, 1000%. It all comes hand in hand. But I guess to reflect on that, like, yeah, I feel like there's no one breathwork session that's the same as others. And
no, and that's the thing. Like, what are you walking into? And there's no need to fear moving into breathwork. Okay, you might see things on the gram or on the Book of Face, and people are screaming and crying, and so that sort of experience can be quite daunting for some people.
Yeah.
One beautiful thing that I've been taught, again through Breathless itself, hence why I like their values and morals, and nothing against, you know, anything else, but one big thing that if you're, you know, going through a really big release, being able to sort of contain that for that person, still being able to cry or scream or get angry or whatever, but just in your own little container, so it's not rippling into the rest of the group, or if you're in a one-on-one session, being able to be safe and knowing that you're held in that container. Yeah, for sure. Because we don't want to go back out and re-imprint the same thing. Yeah. So it's learning to be able to hold that, and how are you going to move forward with that? Yeah. And it comes down to abandonment, comes down to, you know, all of those, you know, if you're going through a release and I just leave you there, or, you know, it's a very sacred container. Yeah, for sure. And when I had first started breathwork, I had done, I can't remember exactly, but it might have been like four sessions, I think. That's right, some one-on-ones, and then went to group sessions. But I feel like that was helpful to just understand, like never having done it before as well was helpful. But I think your containers are all safe, held, and, you know, I guess even beginner friendly as well. That's right, yeah. And having facilitators around to be able to lay their hands on people. Yeah. Knowing that you are safe. And again, remember, you're the healer. I'm just the facilitator. Doing speaking, you're the one that's going to take yourself to the depths of your soul if you allow yourself there. Yeah. And again, there's no judgment or no expectation other than the intention that you have for yourself. Yeah. Yeah, that's powerful. And even you had mentioned earlier, it's like, you know, no one needs to be fixed. Like, no one's broken. No. It's actually, in my life coaching study last week, it's like, as a life coach, for example, and I guess it's, you know, for many healers and things like that, it's like not fixing anyone because they're not broken, but it's bringing them back home to themselves to help them to help them help themselves with the resources that they have. Yep. And yeah, I just feel like it's so powerful when you can be in that space. Yeah. So for someone who has, I guess, a goal of, and I guess this will be especially helpful for people in my community, that has a goal of, you know, weight loss and fitness goals. I feel like we've already briefly touched on this already. But yeah, how do you think, and we can obviously talk hand in hand with this, but how do you think breath work could support them on their journey with, you know, weight loss? Fitness, I feel like we've already sort of covered, but let's talk about weight loss. When it comes to weight loss and fitness, most people think about diet, exercise first. And while that's definitely important, there's a secret weapon overlooked, which is breath work. Breath work is one of the most powerful tools you can support your journey because it goes beyond the physical. It taps into the body's nervous system and emotional patterns and even the mindset which we all are deeply connected to. So first, let's talk about the stress. Stress is the biggest blocker when it comes to weight loss. High levels of stress increase cortisol, a hormone that not only makes it harder to lose weight, but also makes you crave comfort foods. The beauty of breath work is that it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, and that's your rest and digest, and brings you back out of fight and flight. When your body's calm and grounded, you're way less likely to reach for those comfort foods. Second, there's more oxygen and metabolism connection. When you practice, the conscious breathing, it improves your oxygen blood flow into every cell of your body. This supports metabolism and gives you more energy for your workouts, for your day-to-day living. Oxidizes the body, more energy, better nutrients, processing, and even better results in the gym.
100%. And I guess even just going back to sort of what you started with getting into the rest and digest, your parasympathetic nervous system, when your body is in a fight or flight response and you're, dominant in your sympathetic nervous system, your body's main goal is survival, and the last thing that your body is going to do or care about is losing weight, because it will actually store fat as a result of a protection mechanism, because it doesn't know when its next meal is going to be, when the next food is going to be, when it's going to need to expend and use that energy. So when you are in that heightened nervous system state, your body is going to hold on to weight. It's not going to help you lose weight, and that's where
hence the cortisol.
Exactly, stress hormone, cortisol,
inflammation,
ripple on effect. And it's like
even down to the emotional side. Do I feel like doing it?
For sure. It's like,
am I hungry? Most of the time that if you just did, a gentle breath work, or you'd be going, am I really hungry, or am I just bored?
And it's like you bring yourself back to your body and what do I really need?
Correct.
Because a lot of it is, I guess, automatic patterning and unconscious patterns where we, for example, stress and emotional eating. A lot of people do that because it's like it happens behind their conscious awareness, and it's a habit that they've done for so long. It's like learning to unlearn that. I truly believe that, weight loss and, health, fitness, all of it obviously comes under a very big banner, but a holistic approach is where it's at, because it's not just your physical health, it comes back to your emotional health. And you're going to say something? Go.
I just want to quickly jump in on that. And it's not about what you do at the gym.
No,
it's what you do after. Is where you get the results. Which is breath work, nutrition, the way you speak to yourself.
Mindset, stress management, sleep.
That's
and
right.
It's like even a lack of sleep will raise your ghrelin hormone, which is a hunger hormone, and that's where food can come in, and cravings and binge eating and all those sorts of things. I truly believe that a holistic approach is will help you move mountains on your health, fitness, weight loss journey, because like I said, physical health, it's like it's not just down to what you do in the gym, because it's really so much more than that. Like gym, like if we were to do a comparison of, like, let's just say for example we use nutrition and exercise, it's like nutrition and what you put into your body and what you put out of your body, and that energy balance that you create, whether in a calorie deficit, maintenance, surplus, like that is going to be so much more important than what you're doing in the gym in terms of weight loss results. But it's like, and then outside of that, looking at, what's your breathing like? Are you regulated? Are you managing your stress? Are you sleeping properly? And, your emotions and all those sorts of things. Like it, truly just comes hand in hand. Very powerful. Is there anything that you wanted to add to that before, I guess, we dive a little bit into, I guess, my experience with working with you and with breath work?
So breath work strengthens and connects you more to your body. It teaches you to listen to what your body needs. To show love and compassion instead of being hard on yourself when things don't go perfectly. When you approach weight loss and fitness with a mindset, it's not just about achieving a number one on the scale or lifting the heavier weights. It's about building a healthier, happy relationship with yourself.
1000%. And I feel like a lot of people, even like, I guess, touching on sort of that self-love and, compassion subject, it's like, I feel like a lot of people are like, when I get to X goal, whether it's a number on the scale, it's a, size clothing or, whatever it might be, when I get to X goal, that's when I'll love myself. Yep. That's when I'll feel confident. That's when I'll feel happy. But it's like, no, you need to feel that now in order to be able to actually create that transformation. Because if you believe that you're, like, whatever you believe is true. Like, that's the conditioned system that your brain runs on. This is where we need to start
changing the patterns. It's not about, it's not about climbing the mountain, getting to the top. It's not about getting to the top of the mountain. It's about the journey, getting up to the top. So what are you teaching yourself, your patterns and your behaviours, letting go of the old ones and recreating a new neuron pathway?
Yeah. 100%. And like, I guess that comes back to creating those, breaking the old synaptic connections of, thoughts, behaviors, habits, patterns that you've been holding on to for so long, and creating those new neural pathways. It's repetition. The more that you do that, just like anything in the gym, the more that times you pick up that dumbbell up, the more that you build that muscle. So it's exactly the same for, repetition in terms of working on changing those beliefs and that, self-talk and how you talk to yourself, is what I've learned. And a big reason as to why I'm doing my life and mindset coaching is like our mindset controls like so many things in our life. And I feel like it's not understood enough in reality. And it's like, even we're talking about how the system at school, like when you were younger, like how you felt like it didn't support you. We needed this shit at school. Like, where was this at school? There should be a thing like life class where you learn how to do your fucking tax, how to run a business, how to,
how to breathe.
Your subconscious mind, how to breathe. Exactly. All the things that actually matter in life.
Yep.
Instead of the things that, where's this country? I wasn't good at geography or history.
That I learned at school.
Well, exactly. So yeah, I feel like I can't even remember what we're talking about there. We went on a bit of a rampage, but...
So one of my quotes that I live by is, the key to true growth is to empty the cup, forget what you think you know, and you'll always have room to learn something you don't know. Yeah. Allowing the ego mind to step aside, this opens up to new knowledge and growth. Like, start every day.
I love that.
What you don't know. Not what you think you know.
Yeah, I love that. That's really powerful. And even like someone's belief of, or intention or mindset of, maybe let's just say, trying to think of an example. Maybe they're doing a course. Let's just use that as an example. And they're like, oh, I already know this. And it's like that blocks you from learning more and having the understanding of that deeper, or learning something new off the back of that, or, whatever.
Stay in your ego mind.
Yes, exactly. And the ego, I feel like, is something that I've been learning to like sort of tap into my intuition more, and I guess listen to my intuition and notice the difference between my ego and my intuition. I feel like it can be, I guess not a fine line, but sort of just for so long I was disconnected from self, not present, all that sort of stuff. It's taken me some time to really sort of just come back to myself. Come back home to myself and, tap into my own innate power within, and, listen to my intuition and, my gut feelings and what my body's actually telling me, because our body always knows. Yeah. So let's just briefly talk about, sort of before we wrap up, but let's talk about, I guess, my experience with sort of working with you. And I don't actually know if I... Did I ever tell you why I started breath? I think I told you sort of what I wanted to get out of breath work with, I guess coming to you with, I used to be someone who was like, sweep it under the rug.
Yeah.
And like burnout, I sort of realized that, there's only so fucking much that you can sweep under that rug until it gets full, and your body has a way of telling you that you need to deal with this.
The body will definitely show you.
Yeah.
Whether it's through injury, whether it's through
physical exhaustion, mental and emotional. Yeah.
So
I guess, and even we were talking about before, you had mentioned about, what you see on Instagram and Facebook with breathwork and things like that. I remember, was it like the algorithm on like, when you like search something up and it's like, then you start to see all these things and you see like, all the things. And, I guess that, where am I going with this? The visuals that you see, a lot of people looking outside. Yeah. The people looking outside at breathwork who have no idea, and you see a video of, someone doing breathwork and they're like jumping all over the place, their arms are moving and, they're screaming and crying, whatever. You can look at that and be like, oh, like, it's not intimidating, but for some people that could be intimidating. Like I was intimidated by it. But I completely went off subject there. But the reason I actually had come to you is for so long I had felt a pull to breath work. Like I just felt such a strong pull. And that was my intuition, obviously, but I did listen to it, not for a while anyways. And I had actually got from another healer, I had got a Reiki session, and she had said to me in the Reiki session, she's like, my guides are telling me that you need to do breath work. And I'm like, that's so funny that you say that, because I felt such a pull like towards it, a really strong pull for, I don't know, whatever reason. Obviously that must have been why. And again, my intuition. And then not long after that, I had a reading done by her, and it come up again. And she's like, my guides are telling me again that you need to do breath work. I don't know why, what, but you need to do it. And I was like, okay, that's the universe telling me, go fucking do it. So I think at that time I put like a post up on a Facebook group or something, and I was like, can anyone recommend any breathwork sessions, classes, blah, blah, blah. And I had Anika from Yoga Bear reach out to me, and she was like, we've got Michelle here, she's amazing, blah, blah, blah. And she booked me in, and yeah, I like after that first ever session that I did with you, I was like, oh, I haven't showed you this before, but I actually, after my first ever breathwork session, I had recorded a video of how I felt after it, and I'm actually going to find it and play it. Just give me a second to find it.
Yeah.
Where would it be? I favorited it. I hate the new layout on the photos on iPhones. I can't find shit.
It's hard to find things.
Oh.
And it's always when you're looking for something,
yeah,
you can never find it, or it takes its time, and then when you don't want it, it's like, there it is. Why didn't you just come up when I needed it?
100%. And I have like, I don't know how many exactly, but it's like 23,000 photos on my phone.
Oh, wow.
Because I feel like I'm a bit of a perfectionist or like OCD with some things, but not with my photos on my phone. And it's so bad. I have, you know, when you like someone takes your phone and they take photos and they just like snap, 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 snap. And then I never go back through and actually look at it to delete any of them. So that's how I got there. But I'm almost there. So that was, I'm going the wrong way.
April last year, 2024.
Yeah, it's the end of April, start of May. I'm at August. We're getting there. I shouldn't have had it up before we started, but I fully forgot about it. Wait, 2023 or 2024? 2024.
Yep.
June, August.
Knowing that, you know, breath work is not just a modality, it's a way of life. It's a practice that reminds us of our innate power, you know, grounding us into the present moment while creating a space for transformation, beingness.
Yeah.
Bringing it all back to that neutral, back to alignment.
100%. I've got it here. I actually took 2 videos because the first one was in the car and it was dark and the light turned off. But I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play both.
I can't wait.
And I hope it's not too loud on the microphone, but we'll see how we go.
It is 6:11 p.m. Friday, the 3rd of May, 2024, and I just did my first ever one-on-one
Almost dropped my phone.
breathwork session, and it is by far the most amazing and empowering thing I have done in my entire life, and I have no words to...
We spoke about that before.
I cannot put it into words. The light's gone off again, but I simply cannot put it into words. I am just mind blown. It was the most amazing experience, and I can't wait for the next one and for this healing journey and I guess peeling back the layers of myself. It is 6:11 p.m.
That was the first video, and I'm just going to play the second one because I took a new one when it was actually in the light.
It is 6:14 Friday, the 3rd of May, 2024, and I just got home from my first ever one-on-one breathwork session, and I cannot put my experience into words. It is by far the most profound, empowering and amazing experience that I've ever experienced. and I've got no words. I am so excited for this healing journey and for what's to come. It is sick.
The background noise on that one was really bad, but when I was actually putting together a bit of a podcast plan, sort of like with what we were obviously going to sort of chat through in the episode, I remembered that I took that video, and because I hadn't come back to that, and I was like, oh my god, let me find this video, and I listened to it, and I was like I remember the feeling of how I felt like after that first session with you, and like I feel like that was a huge pivot. You were going to say something.
No, like I remember it, and it was like you were quite anxious to come in because you weren't quite sure on what was going to happen. Again, it can be fearful when you see things, on the socials. Is that going to happen to me? And that sort of stops you from really going into the consciousness of your own breath and releasing what it is for you. Now, remember, everyone comes from a story. Everyone comes from their own patterning or their own things that they're working through. So everyone's experience is going to be different.
Yeah.
But again, your body's not going to be able to take you anywhere you aren't willing to go yourself.
Yeah.
So again, we're just starting up at the surface, and then the more that you trust in yourself and the process, the deeper you become.
Yeah.
So it's not, for some people are ready.
Yeah.
They're going to get that experience.
Yeah.
So you can't judge yourself by another person's experience
Yeah.
and think that's going to be your experience.
Yeah. Because, like we said before, I feel like every, even for me, every breathwork session that I do, it's always different.
That's right.
Like
exactly.
you said before, it's like more often than not now, I feel like obviously so much lighter, relaxed, empowered, like just inspired, like so much love, like those positive emotions. And, maybe sometimes when I'm like, something comes up and I'm like, oh, that obviously needed to be released.
And we don't need to put a story to it
exactly.
either. That's one big thing that myself is part of my value system is that if you are going through a process and you've had a body unwind, or if you've cried, or if you've screamed, or, we don't need to put a story on why your body's let go of that emotion or what's happened for you then, because what we then therefore do, we concoct anything up.
Yeah.
And then we re-imprint that and create the same neurone patterning.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And actually, I think I did tell you this, but I feel like maybe it came up at one of our group breathwork sessions. And in my first ever breathwork session, I had seen and obviously I have meditated before, and I feel like for me, I love meditation, but I feel like for me, breathwork allows me to get into a deeper meditative state. And in our first breathwork session, I had seen and I think it's common for a lot of people to sort of see lights and colors and whatever, but I had seen a purple light, and again, I can't put it into words, but I had seen this purple light, and I later that week or that weekend, I had bought an oracle card deck, and I drew a card, and the card that come out, and it was the exact same purple light that I'd seen in our breathwork session, obviously in my mind's eye, and the card was, the light within you can lead the way. And I was like,
beautiful.
It's a sign. And I feel like all the signs and things that sort of before I did breathwork that led me to there was and it's truly just transformed my life. And even after only a handful of sessions, I realized I used to always be someone that would clench my jaw and even grind my teeth and things like that, and I still do that a little bit in my sleep. I wear a splint to bed, but I noticed the difference of how much more relaxed my jaw was, less tension in my neck, less tension in my hip, and it's insane what just tapping into yourself and what that can do.
Yeah.
And obviously, I guess since then, it's just been really supported me on my sort of healing journey, and coming back home to myself and being much more present within myself, and more grounded in my power. And it's truly just been, as I said in the video, the most life-changing thing that I've ever done. And I guess one day, not just yet, but one day I would love to even, facilitate others on that journey, and at some point become a breathwork practitioner, because of the huge, profound impact.
And that was one of the things that I said to you on your first session.
Oh my
God. That you need to do this.
I remember that actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you had said what you had mentioned before. It's like the world needs to. I can't remember the exact words that you had used, but it was like that we need more healers. That's what you had said.
Yeah.
And yeah, one day, I'm one thing at a time, and doing my life coaching. But yeah, it's just had such a huge positive impact on my life. And even actually after one of our sessions, I remember driving home, and you talk about sort of like integration after a session, and it's like sitting in that space is so empowering. And I remember coming home, and I consciously did not speak, but words literally just came out of my mouth. And I had actually went back to my messages because I was like, what was it? I remember there was something, and I had written down the affirmations that come out, but it was like, it is safe for me to be vulnerable was one of them. Next one was, I trust myself, and I am innately powerful. And like, yeah, it was just insane after it. Like, it just blew my mind. Like, the words just like flew out of my mouth, and I didn't even say anything. And I was like, wow. And yeah, every time I do a breathwork session, I just feel a huge shift in my state and my energy and how I feel. So if that hasn't told you how much, I guess, it's had an impact on me, and obviously Michelle's experience with breathwork and
inner child therapy.
Yes.
And I think, moving for myself this year, moving more around to different locations. I do go out to Uluru every year in September. I'm heading out to Mudgee. I've got Central Coast. There's all different locations that I am going to be able to teach this, to be able to spread the word, to be able to help
people
society. That's right, to step into themselves and realize their full potential. Letting go of these generational wounds that keep us as a society low in vibration. And not being able to be okay to be in your own light.
And stuck, stagnant.
That's right. Listening to yourself, finding your own way.
100%. Let's talk a little bit about, before we wrap up, about the event that we are doing, which so excited for. So Friday, where did that come from? Sunday the 9th of February at 10 a.m. We are doing a renew and release event, which is super exciting. It's going to entail, I guess, mindful movement, breath work, and intention setting for, I guess, 2025. It's going to be at Windsor Girl Guides Hall. We'll, of course, chuck the event link, which has all of the details in the show notes below. But I guess, did you want to share a little bit around, I guess, we've already spoken a lot about breathwork today. But yeah, essentially.
It's an introduction.
Yeah.
So don't be fearful. It's an introduction on learning how to use the breath just in your normal day-to-day practice. We'll learn a little bit about diaphragmic breathing. And also how to use the breath when you are in the gym or when you are doing your exercise. And then it's just the integration after that. And a little bit of intention setting for your mind, body and spirit, like, holistic health. So that's just a little bit about, what to expect. All in all, we're there for the community. Bring people together. You just never know who you're going to, meet. And again, it's just a general reminder, a little bit about yourself and what you do, a little bit about what I do, and bringing our businesses together and collaborating and being one in the Hawkesbury to better our community.
For sure. Helping people bring them back home to themselves and move their body in a way that feels,
I guess, for everybody.
Yes, absolutely. So all fitness levels, genders, welcome. And, again, if you're an experienced breathwork person or you're a beginner, the event will be perfect for you. And we'll be running through, an uplifting and energizing workout at the start of the session to really help you sort of, raise your vibration. I truly believe that movement is medicine. And then after that, we'll go into the breathwork aspect of the session, which we've already, spoke a lot about that. We know what to expect with that. And then, some intention setting to really help you, shed and release beliefs, habits, routines, patterns, all the things that aren't serving you and holding you back from, stepping into that best version of you and, how you want to carry yourself through 2025. And make it your most joyous, profound, and growth-filled year yet. So that's going to be Sunday the 9th.
What are you doing on Friday?
Sunday the 9th of Feb. Again, the details will be in the show link below. Tickets are $55, and we would love to hold space for you and for you to come along.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
My absolute pleasure. Before we do wrap up, I did have a couple questions from my audience.
Oh.
So I feel like some of them we've already sort of covered in obviously speaking, but we'll address them anyways. So the first question from someone was, do you cry in breath work or is it just breathing?
Yes, you can cry. There's sometimes that I've even just gone, oh yeah, I'm happy, everything's all right with me, I'm going to go and do a breathwork session, let's just say with your harness, lie down on the mat and bawl my eyes. And I thought, well, where did that come from? All right, so now I'm crying and I'm just being, and allowing the tears to fall, not putting a story on it, but obviously, we've got, I'm 48, so, we've got a lot of things that I need to let go of. And sometimes when we move into, I'm going to rest, I'm going to lay down and actually bring it back to myself instead of bringing it back to the day-to-day living.
Yeah.
And the healer that I am and always healing, other people.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to just allow this time just to be for me. So, I've shed a tear or two. And you know what? I'm grateful for that because if it's out and it's expressed, it's an emotion that I can let go of.
Yeah, for sure. Rather than holding it and suppressing it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Again, which creates the restrictions, the blockages. And you're teaching your energy center to be able to be blocked. Hence why when we even look at that, we look at the relationships to self and relationships to others. Are they functional or dysfunction? Here comes again another layer of inner child work.
Yeah.
So all in all, it encompasses mind, body, spirit.
Yeah.
Spirit being the energy part of it.
Yeah.
Which we have for a long time repressed, cut off and put aside. It's now time to elevate and raise our own vibration. Remember, even when you're going back to even my parents and their parents, sit down, shut up, don't open your mouth.
Yeah. Don't speak about your feelings.
That's right.
Don't do
Over
this.
there in the corner. Be quiet. You can't cry. You can't do this. It's like, so you think about that as a generation, even them going back generation before that.
Yeah.
That's why we are now in a generation of being able to be free with our speech and being okay to be emotional.
Yeah. And be vulnerable.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Imagine if we do that ourselves and allow our children to do it and our children's children to do it.
The impact.
How much now we're going to arise energetically.
Yeah.
Being okay to be safe. The emotions are there to be felt.
Yeah. For
not
sure.
repressed.
Yeah. And that's so profound. And even like growing up for myself, like I said before, my parents were not emotional people whatsoever. And I don't think in my entire life I had ever cried. To this day, I don't think I've ever cried in front of my parents, ever. And I remember there was one time our dog had died. And I distinctly remember, I can't remember how old I was obviously younger, but I distinctly remember crying in the shower because it was like, there's just not something that you do. I wasn't shown to, express your emotions and feel and whatever. And even up until like 19, 20, like I'm just turned 28 at the end of last year, I would rarely ever cry or express my emotions because my body, even one time I was trying to feel, because I could feel myself, I had bottled things up and whatever, and I was trying to cry, but it's like I started, but my body instantly went, nope, you're not doing that, because again, that protection mechanism came in to say that, that's not what we do. It's not safe to do that because that's how I was learned and taught and conditioned. But yeah, insane and so profound. Got a little bit sidetracked there. The next question was, is breath work just breathing techniques or what do you do other than breath? Haha. Someone asked that.
Okay. So that's
I feel like it's also meditation, I think, is a big part that comes in with it as well.
Well, it comes down to the sound.
Yes.
Because sound is vibration.
Yeah.
We are beings of vibration.
Yeah.
It comes down to, again, the individual. What is it that you need to learn? What is it that you need to let go of?
Yeah.
Sometimes if you just come in there with an open heart and be able to allow your body to take you on a
yourself.
journey, here comes the trust in self.
Mm.
And again, body keeps score.
Yeah.
What am I going to let go of? You're intentionally coming in because there's something there in your unconsciousness that wants to be let go of.
Yeah.
And you can't put the mind into, because the mind
The ego.
will always keep you
Yeah.
at an arm's length. The spirit or the heart will always allow yourself to be set free.
Yeah. That's a
So
cool.
self-sabotage, let it go.
Yeah.
Come in allowing whatever it is that needs to be released
To do its thing.
to do its thing.
Yeah.
Let go of the ego, step into the heart.
Yeah. For sure, which is a much more powerful place to be in.
Yeah.
And next question was, would breath work, which I think you already probably know the answer from listening to us speak today, but would breath work help me regulate my nervous system?
Most definitely. And again, there's a breath work to be able to take you into a fight and flight, a rest and digest, a fight and flight, and a rest and digest in order for your body to be able to stand, compare the both and going, is this a safe environment? Is this not a safe environment?
Yeah.
And because we are in a society of being fight and flight all the time,
Yeah.
the rest and digest, hence sometimes we may shed a tear, is because it's like, oh, finally,
Yeah.
I can just come home.
Yeah. 100%. And when you are in that dominant sympathetic nervous system, like there's nothing wrong with being in that, but when you are dominant in that and in that, all day, all night, like we're not designed as humans to be in our fight or flight.
I remember, it used to be, back in the caveman days where you go out and you go, okay, the deer goes out and just goes to collect its prey.
Yeah.
Goes out there, is waiting for, say, the lion to come along and, attack its prey.
Yeah.
It's in that adrenaline rush. It's in that fight and flight. It's in that sympathetic nervous system. Goes in, gets the prey, goes back, and then goes off, shakes it all off. Hence why sometimes you might see people unwinding in a breathwork session or on the socials or whatever. That's what the body's doing. It's letting go of all that adrenaline, the cortisol that's stuck within the system, within the fascia, within the soft tissue, not being able to be released.
Yeah.
And then it goes, oh, okay, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Come into the parasympathetic nervous system then.
Yeah.
So, life is also a mirror to us as well. What the animals or what life does outside ourselves is a really good way of being able to interpret that as us as human beings as well.
Yeah.
We are all things. We are connected.
Yeah. Everything's
We're not
energy.
separate.
Yeah.
We're a holistic planet.
Yeah. Really good way to put that.
And again, we're revolving around, this big system, mind-blowing when you start to think about that we're only a little speck here on Earth, but yet we're revolving around,
like all the other planets, the sun, like what else is out there. I often think of that and it's like,
floating around in the beingness.
Yeah, crazy. Can I do breath work at home? I feel like
most definitely.
Yeah.
You can do it anywhere. You can do it in the car if it's nice and gentle.
Yeah.
You can do it in the shower.
Yeah.
You could be going through an episode at work, or you could be, doing the groceries. And if something's happening stressful on the outside of self, you can always bring it back to, a gentle 4-4-4, which is breathing in through the nose for the count of 4, holding your breath for the count of 4, letting go for the count of 4, holding for another 4. That's a heart coherence breath work.
Yeah.
So that brings it back into, or you call it a box breath.
Yeah. Yeah.
So breathing in for the 4 in through the nose, holding the breath, breathing out through the mouth for the 4, holding for 4.
Yeah.
Do it a couple of times, gets you out of the head, into the heart.
Body. Yeah. And actually you had mentioned the shower. The last, a few weeks when I've been getting in the shower, I've been like coming back to my breath and doing some breath work in the shower, and like the huge shift that I notice like in how I feel is just like insane. And it's like it's a resource that is available to us at all times.
Yeah.
And it's like knowing how and when to actually use it as well. So last question. I did breath work once, and I think you covered this, but I did breath work once and noticed a big tingling sensation in my hands and seen lots of colours. Is that normal?
Yes.
Yeah. And so the tingling in the hands and areas and energy, right?
Yeah.
Energy.
Yeah. And you're allowing yourself, because your body is going through its own transition. It allows, the tingling is the perfect thing to know that, the breath and its oxidation is taking you into a different state within the body.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, that was all the questions from the audience. Before we wrap up, is there anything further that you wanted to share, or I guess a feeling called to share before we wrap up?
Try it.
Yeah.
Come to one of the classes. Come to one of the workshops.
Yeah.
You'll be amazed at just how amazing and the energy that you feel within the body is phenomenal. The power you hold.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, the power that you hold within your body to be able to take yourself is next to none.
Yeah.
There's no other feeling like it.
And you simply cannot put it into words.
Cannot put it into words.
Yeah. And so where can the listeners find you on socials, or how can people work with you? I will, of course, put links below, but tell us your Instagram handles, Facebook handles.
1,000 Paths. My website is being built at the moment because I'm going along a whole new branding.
Yay.
So the workshops that I do for this year will also go up, which are the peeling back the layers, the breathwork and ice, breathwork. I've got a few other little bit of pearls of the mystery events that I always like to do where nobody knows what they're signing up for, because we never really know what's going on in life, which is one beautiful thing that I do like to create. A sense of letting go and just allowing to be taken on the journey.
Yeah, I love that. And like I said, I'll put links to Michelle's social media down below. So if you did have any questions, I guess after today, I'm sure Michelle will be happy for you to reach out to her. But we would also love to invite you along to our collaboration event. So like I said before, the details for that will all be in the show notes below. Any last words?
I just wanted to quickly just touch on the tingling within
the hands.
The hands
areas. Yeah.
I know that sometimes that can be quite what's happening, you could be quite fearful for that. But just know that the response that's happening with that is just the oxygen and the carbon dioxide within the body.
That creates that tingly.
Yeah. You think about the blood and the less oxygen that is going in.
Yeah.
They're creating the physical responses.
Yeah, yeah. And it's I've experienced before in breathwork sessions, and it's like, I feel like it's a nice feeling, and I feel like it allows you to surrender. That's right, because it indicates the blocked or the stagnant energy that isn't flowing free within the body. Yeah. Hence why we come back to, we're in that fight and flight. We are blood. We are, we've got, it's phenomenal. We can't talk about it enough to know that it is everything. So what you do consciously on a day-to-day thing is that if you do have any of those blockages, that's generally what's happening within the body. Stagnant, stuck energy. Yeah. Insane. And thank you so much for your time and coming on to the podcast today. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much, and have truly been so grateful that we had crossed paths when we did, and hence why 1,000 paths. Yes, I know. I was going to say before that, I love that it's called that, because it's there's 1,000 paths to healing. Yeah. And yeah, I hope you just know the profound impact that you've had on my life, and how grateful I am for you, and for your time and coming onto the episode today and sharing all of your wisdom. Thank you very much for having me, and I appreciate all of your beauty and everything that you bring to me, and moving forward,
really look forward to collaborating with yourself and your followers, along with myself and my followers. I'm really looking forward to bringing everything together.
Yeah, super exciting. So excited. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.